Back, Chair recognizes Ms. Tlaib from Michigan.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Administrator, thank you so much for being here. I know it's been a long day, but this is really important in regards to something that is happening in my community. I know you probably know I'm from Michigan, and we've been hit hard the last 4 years as a result of storms and flooding. We had 2 declarations in the last 4 years for flooding. Many of my residents, still currently struggle with ongoing emotional toll, as well as the cost of flood damage, which they have yet to be able to recover to this day. In my district, though, residents live in housing that are often do not have separate rooms, or what you call occupant rooms, in the basement, and which triggers this exclusion that FEMA has right now of getting help when there's not somebody like sleeping in the basement. This was very much a surprise to me because many of my seasoned residents who had flooding couldn't get access to be able to do the cleanup, which led to such terrible damage of their basement that, and I would love to submit for the record, Chairman, article from Bridge Detroit, devastating floods leave Detroiters with toxic mold.
Without objection to order.
And in this article, it talks about the fact that many of our homes, they would get all this coverage for all these other things except the basement, where the majority of the flooding left. I have one resident, 90-year-old woman in Northwest Detroit. If you walk into her home these days, especially at this time of the year, you'll feel cool air right coming from her kitchen to the living room. She'll tell you that 6 months has passed since the last FEMA declared flood, and your heart sinks because she has literally resulting from the damage of the basement, drainage issues, no hot water, rising problems related to the mold, and a broken furnace, right? And we're helping her as quickly as possible to try to see if there's any other community-based organizations. But the question then comes to my team and I is, why is this an exclusion? And would FEMA be open to working with members of Congress in a bipartisan way? Because Michigan, we got basements. And we need to be able to have some sort of a remedy that it can be a livable home. Toxic mold is dangerous for any age, but especially my seasoned residents who they're on fixed income, they do not have the resources to take care of that.
Congresswoman, the programs that we have in our individual assistance program, one, do not replace insurance. And when somebody is underinsured or uninsured, they do have access to FEMA financial assistance through our housing programs. But unfortunately, by statute, the only thing that we are allowed to provide financial assistance with is for primary living areas. Yep. And so that would be the financial assistance that they get.
I want my colleagues to hear this, especially one colleague. I think there could be a bipartisan effort here because the basement helps make the rest of the house livable. That's where the utilities are. I mean, allowing the mold to continue to grow. I had a woman in Inkster who didn't have the capacity to clean out and get the water out. It froze in the winter, causing even more damages to her home. And Administrator, I know it's statute. I just wanted my colleagues to understand it. Also, Mr. Chair, for the record to submit after the flood article, again, continue to talk about the growing issue of flood and storms that are coming in throughout, I think, Michigan, again, impacted by the lack of, again, FEMA being able to cover or just be able to provide some sort of assistance for basements.
And Congresswoman, we would be happy to partner with you and provide technical drafting assistance. But right now, as you mentioned and as I mentioned, we are limited by statute on what we can provide financial assistance for. But we also work with our partners then. That's
I know.
The SBA comes in.
SBA is so hard. You want to tell one of my seasoned residents to get a loan from the Small Business Administration, they'll roll your eyes, probably never talk to me again. I can't do that to them. Even when I tell them they'll work with you, thinking about even a lien on their home, they just don't want to go through that process. The other thing, Administrator, I think is really important. I want to know, and please get back to me, in those 2 declarations in Michigan, what was the rate of denial? Because I had to go through so many appeals with our families to get them the help that they needed from FEMA. And I thought to myself, we're just denying folks. And then later, months later, but it takes so much effort to, again, get somebody to respond, help the family get the submission to appeal, and they actually get approved. But the initial denial, I just feel like we could be preventing that initial denial because it's devastating for a family. Some do not even know to call their member of Congress for help.
We would be happy to get you that information, and I'll just add that, it frustrates me equally as much that the way our current system, the platform works, sends these letters out so quickly, when all we need to do often is get one additional piece of information. It's something that
It's
we
like a
have
receipt or something.
prioritized
Yeah, just tell the
in trying to
residents.
work on it.
We got to work on that because denying them, they walk away and they don't even try again.
I understand.
And I go to my town halls, I go to different places, and they'll say, well, FEMA denied me. And I said, did you try appealing? What do you mean? How do I do that? Again, I think we need a better process because our families we shouldn't be, look, we're a public government entity. We shouldn't act like the for-profit insurance companies. We should be better at this. We should move with much, much more compassion. Thank you.
Chair